Okay, so we're gonna say you look like the tinkering type. If I had a little scrap, would you be interested? Sure, these cogs are worth a bit of sterling. Okay, let's sell the cogs I've collected, maybe? Because I have been collecting them. Or I can keep them. I don't know why I would keep them. But we'll see what the, what it says. Okay, we are going to sell everything. We got 15 silver for that. Pleasure doing business. We can now say, we can ask about the boffins. We can ask about its name. We can ask about his inventing. We do have spryness, which would be nice to improve. Alright, let's say your automaton. Has it got a name? This here's Otto. Perfectly friendly he is, if a little odd. I can say silly giving names to a machine, if you ask me, or stands to reason, though who among us isn't a little bit odd? I mean, I did ask for his name, so telling him it's silly to give things names seems a little weird. We're gonna say stands to reason, though who among us isn't a little odd? Struth if I've heard it. What can I call you, sir? Atticus Daly. Teddy passed the automaton with his fat paw. Mr. Daly, from both of us, it's a pleasure. Otto's gonna need some tweaks before he brawls, but we'll have him fit as a fiddle by then. Okay, we can ask about the pit fights, or we can ask if he's a brawler. Kind of a fun game. I'm digging it. I guess it's my choice. Let's say he's a brawler, huh? So far, he only watched from the sidelines, but someday he'll fight along with the other battle traps. No emotion from the automaton, of course, but one can't help but wonder how it feels about all this. See, I'm a hunter of fell beast and monster. After the werewolf fights, those outlaw wretches are all tatterdemalion, or beat up and worn out. Much easier to take in for a bounty. Only 3 days before the moon is full-bellied. Better to have a good mind to who you're betting on. That's quite an occupation, must never be a dull moment, or the pit fight's been to my fair share. It's good for a wager or two. Okay, we're gonna say pit fights. I've been to my fair share. It's good for a wager or two. Bully, I just knew you were a man of culture. And that's on top of having the kind of stature I look for in a cove. Man. Eager to be on my docket while partaking in pit fights. A fetching offer, but I can't commit just yet. Besides, the stranger wouldn't want me to be led astray by such endeavors. He strikes me as the kind of fellow who'd cross oceans and deserts while giving chase to his quarry. Good night, then, and good luck with this contraption of yours. Okay. There's Teddy. Let me see. Did I find... There's a dreamer and the private booth. What's this dreamer doing? Another customer on a journey to the land of Nod. Another chicken asking to get plucked. Perhaps I'll have a riffle through his pockets. I can either pick his pockets or I can let him be. Smoky. Looks like we're gonna pick his pockets. It's an easy skill check. What'd we find? And the fingers go a-walkin'. He shivers in his slumber and half turns over. It was a close thing, but that's what makes it thrilling. I got about 5 shillings. Not bad for a minute's work. Hey, I got money. Alright, I guess we gotta go see what this guy wants. Lattice wooden screens and a high-backed seating provide some comfort and privacy for those who can afford it. The booths are made of a luxurious calf leather. Calf leather, my poor brothers and sisters, skinned for creature comfort. The leather is well oiled and plush with dimpled riveting. Delicate china and exclusive menus of the den's offering are available here for those of a more discerning taste. Seems I'm in for a treat on account of this stranger's pocketbook. It's as fat as a Christmas goose. Well, let's show a little restraint. Surely he didn't bring me here for the elevated conversation and pleasure of my company. I better be on my guard. I can say it's better here than in the alley, or I can say whatever his angle, there must be something in it for me, or he could have already killed me and collected my bounty, but he didn't. I guess I should hear him out. Okay, we're gonna say he could have already killed me, collected on my bounty, but he didn't. I guess I should hear him out. It's worth seeing what he's after. Infuriating. I can't keep that old crone from intruding on my thoughts. Nevertheless, the stranger is waiting on me. We can say let's get on with this, or I'd like to look around some more. I figure we should get on with this. Let's just go on with this. Okay, let's see. What's he got to say? The menu is embossed with an array of oral morphines, liquid and powder cocaines, and all manner of midnight oil, which is opium. Teddy seems an interesting chap, and the automaton is quite something, isn't it? Bugger the small talk. Why'd you bring me here? We've got plenty of time for explanations. Why don't we start with a sample of some of the den's wares? Careful now. He's obviously trying to curry favor, although it would be good to loosen up. With so many dear, poisonous variations, it's hard to decide what will hit the spot. Is dear costly? I must say I'm impressed with your discretion. I would have just thought any fix would do. You're greasing the wheels for whatever you want from me. Thanks, I suppose, but I know it's not from the kindness of your heart. I don't know what to say on this one. I agree with both of them. And I get to pick. Thanks, I suppose, but I know it's not from the kindness of your heart. We'll see if you sing the same tune when it's said and done. Now then, while you think about the entree, I'll prepare the appetizer. He takes a small tablet out of his shirt sleeve, cracks it in half, and drops it in my teacup. The other half goes into his own. You can't expect me to drink that. Half and half, an equal dose. I wouldn't kill us both, now would I? Ooh, I can drink the tea, or I can turn it down. I don't know if I like that proposition. We're gonna turn it down. Even so, I'll pass. Heh, not your cup of tea. How about some white wind elation? You must be fond of that one. His light-hearted confidence seems like a front. I get the feeling he knows he's better than he's letting on. Any sort of psychic barrier is useless. The bothersome crone won't leave me be, and here I am face to face with another telepath. Alright, enough of this facade. Not only did you pick my local place, but you pretend to suggest my favorite blend like it was a lucky guess. I know a little something about you, it's true, but it's part and parcel to my profession. I keep tabs on people who pique my interest. You can say, how have you been tracking me, or what's your profession? And then out with it. You've tried my patience long enough. Maybe if he's so good at this, he can help me find the orphans. We're gonna say, what is your profession exactly? Let's say I look after Her Majesty's interests with great vigor when they align with my own. At first his cryptic speech was alluring, but now it's plainly an annoyance. We can say, have you been tracking me? Or on with it then. You've tried my patience long enough. Let's say, how have you been tracking me? It wasn't all that difficult. You only have a few haunts. Alright, on with it then. You've tried my patience long enough. Very well. I already know of your life as a roughneck and a panhandling mage. But what about before that? What about Sacred Heart? Which is the orphanage that I was living in before I turned 13. And I am a charlatan, so I could lie. Or I can just be honest about it. I don't know if I like this guy. He just tried to drug me. We'll be honest. It was where I grew up before I looted the nun's coffer and took to the streets. Well, I gathered as much. But I'm not sure. What I'm not sure about is your parents. I can say all I really have are guesses, or I can lie. Or I can... No, I can't tell the truth. It'd be nice. Maybe if we're honest with him, we're going to say all I really have are guesses. Oh, this character has gained the retrospective trait and will now be able to select dialogue options that require this trait. The ways in which the mechanisms of fate turn can be perplexing, but to the keen eye they may offer the means to shape the world. My mother likely gave me up because she couldn't pay my keep. I suppose my father either died or walked out on us. I can't say for sure, but it's too bloody unpleasant to think about. If the memory's there, we can call it back gently. Okay, this guy has lost his mind. Something occurred at the Sacred Heart that you've forgotten. With the help of an opium dream, you might recall the details that would lead to your mother. Lead me to her gravesite, you mean? What would that accomplish? On the contrary, I believe she's alive. Her name came up on a ledger at the Bethnal House, which is a mental hospital. Oh. Okay, I've seen my share of swindlers, but this takes the cake. Just humor me for a moment. Matilda is, of course, her given name, but how about her family name? I can say, if I ever knew it, there's no chance in Hades I'd remember it now, or I don't think the sisters at the orphanage ever told me what it was. This is interesting. Okay, I don't think the sisters at the orphanage ever told me what it was. But if you could recall Matilda's family name, and if it's on record at the orphanage and matches the ledger at the Bethnal House, you could prove her identity at the hospital, and by claiming kinship, set her free. That would mean digging up memories about the Sacred Heart. Not exactly how I thought the night would unfold. I'm sure if my mother's alive, she's forgotten me, or if even what you describe is possible, why should I want to find her? Yeah, the second one. No idea. Even if what you describe is possible, why should I want to find her? That's up to your discretion, of course. I cannot share my own motivation for the truth. He's dreadfully opaque, isn't he? I cannot force your hand, but unless you can think back to those troubling times, then you won't be worth more than the price on your head. A bounty I'm assuming you'd be happy to collect? That's right. Albeit less desirable, it's another way to ensure that I won't have wasted my time. So he's offering me a chance to live, but only if I can draw up those memories. So what'll it be? The dream dose and a voyage between the banks of memory, or the death dose and the end of all your days? Ooh, that's a tough choice. Not a very good choice if you give me the idea. Okay, we're gonna take the dream dose. You take the stranger's offer, eager to lose touch with... That went dark quickly. Well, yeah, this is a very dark game, I've noticed. I mean, basically at the beginning of the game, he wakes up from attempting to kill himself. And he's like, well, I guess I'm alive, I'll keep looking for stuff. And then this stranger shows up and starts chasing us. You take the stranger's offer, eager to lose touch with harsh reality, and for a chance to recall everything that could lead to your mother's whereabouts. Shortly after drifting away from consciousness, you found yourself being enveloped by a miasma of repressed memories, the stranger's recent enquiries reminding you of growing up in Sacred Heart Orphanage. Auntie Emma's warm embrace suddenly morphs into chilly restraints as remembers of dooryard scuffles with bellicose orphans resurface. It's as if life's refusing to allow you to seek refuge from tangible hardships, no matter how potent your drug of choice for escapism is. This place is surely a dream, but it's all too familiar. You must find out what the stranger is seeking in your memories. Okay, what can I do here? Nothing that I can see yet. Oh, this is wild. There's a statue. Let's look at the statue. The open arms of the angel were purely symbolic. I never had a home in this dreadful place. In truth, I spent most of my time traveling through fantasies, looking for a place to call my own. Never did find it, though. Okay, let's talk to the sister. The courtyard is nothing but hard-packed sand and scruffy grass. Heloise watches over the children at play. By this time you were big enough to give as good as you got, and the ones who wouldn't fight you insulted you with abandon. As the others adapted, I became more isolated. I often thought about running away. Atticus, you'll be 12 years old in a week's time. There's something I need to tell you. Oh, what's the difference? I'm getting out of here as soon as I can. Now, Atticus, let's hear what she has to say. Alright, it's about your mother. I should have told you sooner, but I didn't know how. I'm sorry, Atticus. I wish I'd been more brave. At least you're telling me now, before I quit this place? The day you arrived, there was a ring wrapped up in your blankets. You're old enough to have it now, and your mother left this, too. Heloise hands me an old piece of parchment. A note from my mother. Can you make out what it says? Oh, I can say there's nothing written down as a blank piece of paper, or there's no message, I can't produce the memory. Goodness. Interesting. We're gonna say there's nothing written down. It's a blank piece of paper. The truth will come in time. I'm sorry I kept this from you for so long. Did she ever come back for me? She came back half a year later, insisted you were her child. She mentioned the note and knew the date we found you on the steps. Why didn't I go with her? Heloise is coming to that. As your mother signed in at the registry, a horse and buggy drew up outside. There was a terrible shout as someone bowled over the sister at the door. When this fellow burst in, your mother went stiff as a corpse. Could it have been my father? I don't know who he was, but he struck a panic in my heart. There was a malice in his every step. A twitching, insidious man. He took your mother, and she never returned. Ugh, get me out of this nightmare. Perhaps you were too young to hear the tale. Hearing this from Heloise heartened me at the time, but it still didn't change the fact that I couldn't stand the orphanage. After I fled the orphanage, I did search for my mother until I decided there was nothing I could do. Perhaps not then. This is now. Okay. What else is there in here? Can I go this way? Oof. This is wild looking. Okay, there's a chalkboard. Let's see what's there. The bits of colored chalk were the most sought after. Too bad they were so often wasted on crude drawings. Okay. Let's talk to Sister Heloise again. I see you've recovered from your latest round of fisticuffs. Anything to say for yourself? I can say I'm getting stronger all the time. My hide is getting coarser, thickening, or sometimes it's like I go blind for a few moments, and when I wake up I'm crying and cut up, and everyone's staring at me and laughing. Sometimes it's like I go blind for a few minutes. When I wake up I'm crying and cut up, everyone's staring at me and laughing. You poor child, you've suffered long enough. It's time you learned what your bloodline is capable of. Must be another ploy to get me to stay, but I'll be 13 in a few months, and then I'm running off for good. Being singled out as a Minotaur, always having insults thrown at you, it's terrible. The bright spot is that you have the gift of magic, and you can develop your talents if you study the tarot. She fans out the colorful cards. They seem to buzz with an eerie electricity. Look closely at this card, the Magician, a symbol of new beginnings, one arm to the heavens and the other towards the earth. He is a conduit between the spiritual and the material realms. The Magician transmutes potential energy from its ethereal state into perceptible forms. I can either say these cards are a load of rubbish, or can't say I'm by it, but I'm listening. Alright, can't say I buy it, but I'm listening. That's the spirit. Minotaurs are magical creatures, and like this magician, you are a conduit. I committed the spell to memory long ago. I'll share it with you, but only with your promise of wholehearted trust. Okay, Heloise, I know you wouldn't lead me astray. I trust you. And I trust you, Atticus, because if my superiors should learn of this, I'd never wear the habit again. Now, this is a cantrip. You must speak it over and over until it is written across your mind in bold letters. Her voice drops into a strange, low whisper. Sight from the fire, hearing from the aether, smelling from the air, and touch from the water. Taste from the water, touch down to the earth in another form. Aristotle defined 5 senses: sight, smell, touch, taste, and hearing, corresponding to the elements of fire, air, water, earth, and aether. I think I understand, except for that bit about the aether. Aether is the energy propelling each heartbeat, the same material in the soul and the consciousness of all blooded creatures. Those with proper training can channel aether into the earthly sphere. Therein lies the power of the cantrip, the ability to transmute energy into matter. Aether is tied to hearing, so first you must learn to listen. You must hear the winds and the wiles of the heavens. I see the night is getting on. What about the rest? I can try to remember. I have a 50-50 shot. Success! I have gained the illusionist trait and will now be able to select dialogue options that require this trait. Nice, I mean. Let's see. I held my hands over the tarot cards and we sat quietly until I heard a voice like an aural mirror, as if the words were backwards. Then I felt my lips moving, and when I opened my eyes, we were breathing the words of the cantrip in unison. The memory cuts to the quick, but at least it's intact. Well done. Moving right along. Is it time to wake up? I dare say I'm ready for this to be over. Okay. Not time to wake up, apparently. We just keep walking. Let's look at the teddy bear. A teddy bear with a missing eye and matted mohair fur. It suffered the pitfalls of a rough life in the orphanage, just like the rest of us. A footlocker? This was my bed, right next to Snyder, and here in the footlocker I kept a few trinkets. Worthless, a lot of them. Okay, I can look at the peonies or talk to Snyder. Let's look at the peonies. These purple darlings brightened up the dreary place, picked fresh from the schoolyard by Leo. I guess we talk to Leo, or Snyder. When midnight strikes, I'll be 13 years of age. Father Franco keeps the orphanage funds in the private office. That's my ticket out of here. So I'm going to sneak past Snyder. Quiet as a ghost. Alright, we have some ads. I'm gonna maybe take a... Let's see. Quiet as a ghost. Now I better make for the office where they keep the coin. Nice. Let's see. Alright. So we snuck past him. God, this is so weird. Alright, I want to look at my journal. We still are trying to figure out that. Yeah, there's nothing I can do for those quests currently. I'm gonna wait until the ad break is done. Oops, wrong button. There we go. Is there anything else? There's a lockbox. We'll look at that as soon as the ad break is over. What do we have now? We have Wheel of Fortune and the High Priestess and Star. Cool. While we're taking a little break, let's do a new save. So we've got one. Well, we can't check our inventory in here, apparently. We're gonna check the lockbox when we get done with this. Because what else do we have to do? Nothing that I see. Alright, welcome back from ads. We are going to check out this lockbox. There's enough to get me started here, or there's enough here to get me started on my own. Pay dirt, I'll put 100 leagues between me and the Sacred Heart Orphanage. What was that? Sounded like it came from the hallway. The house is roused. I'd better make my exit. Someone's coming. My only way out is through the window, or there's a 20-foot drop from the second story. But I'd rather a twisted ankle than a date with the willow switch. What? I would say the spryness, because we do have spryness. Okay, we're gonna go out the window. There's a voice in the corridor, then a pale shape that emerges from the shadows. Stealing this money, it hurt the Sacred Heart. We fell behind. We skipped over holidays and knitted clothes for the children. This memory's been twisted by the guilt you felt from it, taking a new shape to prevent this sort of behavior again. Who cares? It was ages ago. I'll behave however I damn well please. Sorry I had no other choice, but I needed the money. How else would I have made it on my own? Okay, I needed this money. How else would I have made it on my own? The same way we would have made our way without it. But alas, my child, the past is past, and there's only one way to make it right. Oh, that's good. Let's out the window. Normally I'd say that drifting into deep sleep would be a merciful release from reliving such memories. Yet something compels me to push on, to be put through the ringer, to face that greatest of foes, myself. When I was young, I thought that money was the most important thing of life. Now I'm old. I know that it is. Oscar Wilde. Chapter 2. Lord Silas's Airship. Navigate London as the sharp and savvy courtesan Clara Reed, before new crimes and a marking of her past catch up to her and tear her life apart. Oh cool, we get to be something else. Archetype selection. Clara uses her sharp wit and tact to navigate the perils of London's upper class, but she's haunted by the choices of her past. Will she let these choices hold her back, or will she search for a better future? Okay, I can have tact. Social communion by necessity. Clara learned to say exactly what others needed to hear. The right words can topple kings, or at least keep you unperceived for another night. I can have intellect. Book and whip smart. Since childhood, real smart. She took comfort in spending long hours in pursuit of knowledge, a shield against the pressures of the world, and a sword against those who sought to control her. I can say she's quick on her feet, quick with her hands, and quick to laugh. These are the tools that both disarmed most conflicts and left Clara with enough pep and verve to keep moving forward. Or I can do intuition. She learned to hone her sharp intuition from a young age. One can fairly hope to survive or thrive in tenuous situations if they haven't learned to listen to their gut. I'm thinking either grace or intellect. I think we're going to do intellect, something different, because grace would be close to what we did with the Minotaur. So let's do this. Revolutionary feats of engineering and shameless displays of wealth. A common sight in London, yet rarely does one come across that which combines technical prowess and financial abundance. Enter Silas's airship, its gilded frame and sheer size literally and figuratively casting a deep shadow over the city's slums and wealthy districts. Shafts of sunlight filter through windows that wrap around each of the airship's rooms, bathing them and their occupants in a warm glow. Pipes and polished wooden floors rumble to the spinning of the airship's propellers. You feel like you're standing within a slice of the future. Morning already. I can't stay here forever. I still have so much to do before I leave London. Good thing Silas already delivered my payment. He was up before me. I wonder if he's still aboard the airship. I can go take in the atmosphere. And I didn't succeed. Can't be sure what he's up to, but I do hear him bustling around somewhere on board. He rarely lets me leave without ensuring our next appointment is set. I can say last night was no bed of roses, but it wasn't all bad. At least once I've quit London, I won't have to entertain Silas anymore, or my head still aches from all the whiskey he was pouring me last night. Okay, last night was no bed of roses, but it wasn't all bad. At least once I've quit London, I won't have to entertain him anymore. Is that you, sweet thing? Up at last, are we? Better get going. Too busy to stay abed. Okay, is there anything I can do? What's on the chiffonier? Another night wearing this perfume will drive me mad, but Silas always gives bigger tips when I wear his gifts. Another dreadful night, or one more day in London. I must choose the lesser evil, I suppose. I don't know. Looks like we're gonna take the perfume. One more night, then I can wash Silas and London off my back for good. Okay, there's a wine rack. There's an elaborate fan. Let's go see what the fan is. On the sideboard sits an elaborate folding fan with a note beneath it. In prim and proper cursive it reads, "A token of my affection." And further down, "A trinket of fascinating complexity and refined beauty. A fitting gift for my dear Miss Clara Reed." That's actually quite thoughtful of him. Pretty little thing, isn't it? Quite bulky for an accessory, however. Okay, so now I can search for more fans. Let's look at the wine rack. A small but carefully curated selection of wines and one bottle of good gin. Strangely distinct in a high society way. Judging by the label, Silas named this branded gin after his wife, perhaps as an attempt to make amends. If I fancied it for myself, now's the time. Cyclops is dead to the world. I can say take a furtive look at the rack, or I wouldn't be much of a guest if I got my fingerprints all over the man's booze. Looks like we're going to look at the rack. Success! And we stole some gin. This will soothe the soul. Mine or someone else's. Okay, what else is there to look at? There's some couches. Let's go see what that's about. Similar fabric to the booths in the Velvet Rose, with fewer stains, evidently. Okay. Oh, there's a phonograph. Let's go turn it on. Music! Mother used to play a song with one of these. What was the melody again? What's over here? We have a go to the wharf. There's a statue I can look at. Terracotta, chipped amethyst. I wonder who stole the original. Let's go see what's over here. The wainscoting. Surely crafted by a worker with meager pay. Absolute precision left unnoticed by the wealthy. Some traveling trunks. The luggage set is less organized than mine back at the royal suite. Like Tenor and Silas, akin on the outside, but with a different sort of discontent in our hearts. Well, there's a view. London looks even more hideous from above. Soon I'll be free from it. I don't want to go to the wharf yet. Let's talk to Silas. You're loving the pop-ups in chat? Those are from a new bot I found that does my shoutouts. Check out the shoutouts. They are absolutely individualized for every person, and they are so cool. They take a second to pop up, use sometimes. But look at this. Join Smoky Glow, the eco-friendly, duck-loving gamer, for chill ESO adventures in Vardenfell with pals like Retrolark and Illusory Thrall. From solo quests to festive new life shenanigans and dragon hunts, it's all about good vibes and great company. Plus, don't miss their cozy ski lodge streams with the cutest plastic ducks. Tune in for laughs, quests, and a safe space that's 420 friendly. It does individual shoutouts for everybody based on their latest streams as well as their description. It is so cool. I found it in Pacific Creative's stream, and I loved it so much that I had to bring it to this one. And it does chat synopsises every once in a while. Finn and Hattie's? Okay. Fancy a jaunt to St. James for Finn and Baddies. Okay. A Scottish dish of salted and smoked haddock. Okay. Afraid not, my dove. I have a busy schedule today, and my employer at the Rose will be quite cross with me if I'm not in soon. This early in the day? Zeus's beard. She runs a tight ship, then. Respectable shop. Pardon me. Respectable shops and taverns won't come unshuttered for ages yet, but the dollies are already breaking bread and scrubbing up for the day. No rest for the wicked, as they say. So it would seem. Can say, did you sleep well? Or when would you like to meet again? Or how's work coming on the new prosthesis? Or wherever did you find this fan? It's quite the piece. We're going to ask about the fan. Wherever did you find this fan? It's quite the piece. Ah, found my gift, eh? Lovely little bauble, isn't it? I know you've a bit of collection. I couldn't resist treating my favorite London dolly. Not too presumptuous, I hope. Not at all. I appreciate the gesture, Dove. Well, I'm sure you'll find a way to thank me when we next meet. Right, my sweet? I kind of want to ask him about the prosthesis. Because he is in a wheelchair, which is kind of cool. I love all the fantasy creatures because he is clearly a Cyclops. Okay. We'll ask when he would like to meet again, or... it's half and half. Let's ask about the prosthesis. Wonderfully! Couldn't be happier with it. I can't wait for the public to see it. This will revolutionize the way the work is done in our fair city, and Play, for that matter, would be launching ahead of schedule at this rate, but only the blasted foreman could do his job. Trouble on the production line. And then some. One factory in particular. They're asking for higher wages, less hours. You know how it is. Nothing I haven't said. At length. Christ above the greed and the laziness. Do they not understand how deeply they're hurting this industry, slowing us down? We can let him know of our thoughts on the matter. We succeeded. What a bother, sweetling. When we next meet, I'll work all the harder. Oh, we got the moon. We have gained the chameleon trait and will now be able to select dialogue options that require this trait. Cool. I'll work all the harder to take some of that stress off your shoulders. Indeed. Sooner than rather than later, I think. Since this was the one that we wanted last time, I'm going to end the poll and say, when would you like to meet again, Lord Bragg? Now, enough of that. It's just Silas for you, my little minx. Lord Bragg, ha! The novelty never wears thin. I pray that only one more Cyclops may someday follow in my footsteps and earn Her Majesty's praise. For all his bluster, there are some causes he does truly care about. But answer your question, I'm afraid I'll have to get in touch. Busy, busy these coming days, and plenty of irons in the fire. But mark me, I'll send word to my sweet Miss Clara as soon as I'm free. I look forward to it. We can ask if he slept well, or we can leave. This game just keeps getting more and more interesting. Okay, we're going to say, did you sleep well? With you always. Nothing like waking up beside a lady as lovely as you in the buff. You flatter me, your lordship. Flattery will get you everywhere. I know the look in those eyes. Best seg into something else. Or segue. I don't know why I always pronounce that wrong. Regardless of how well Silas has already paid, I do have places to be. I'd best be off. It was wonderful as always. Don't be a stranger, my dove. Of course not, my dear. I'll be seeing you sooner rather than later, I think. Till then. Okay. I think we need to go down to the wharf. We've looked at everything else. Soft light breaks through the dense London fog and falls across the leafing paint of the fishmongers' stalls. This close to the sea, the smog of London is usurped by the salty bite of tidal decay. Fish bones and English waste mingle on the edge of the metropole, coating the stone walls of the quay and cobbles below in a thin and foaming slick. Escape is close at hand, and the tawdry cavern which has been your living tomb shall be no more, fates willing. When they search for you in the morning, they'll find little more than an empty room with its door flung wide. Just one more night of this. Intuition. Ah, the nostalgic reek of London's ports. It's a fine day by London standards, quite refreshing. Almost a pity to spend it bustling about making plans for my leaving. I can say, I wonder whether I'll miss the city. At least it saves me from a morning stroll with Silas, or I can't leave fast enough. It says, this dreary fog-swamped city can't be left fast enough. My musings are cut short by the hacking gasp or cough of a longshoreman somewhere off a ways hulling in his cargo for the day. I can say best not to keep Green Street waiting, though I would indeed miss London, I suspect, or that's more than enough mawkishness for now. Green Street should be around here somewhere. Okay, that's more than enough mawkishness for now. Green Street should be around here somewhere. Okay, let's see what we can do. We can go back to the airship. We can go to street level. Let's go to street level. What all is down here? Oh my gosh. Ransacked nest. Go to Soros Square. There's a Navy officer. There's the Crimson Herring Tavern. There's a recruitment poster. That's interesting. Throw off the yoke of despotic gang bosses and join the Dockhounds. Big money and lifetime loyalty await. $10 signing bonus. Or £10 signing bonus. At the bottom in smaller print. Must be able to lift a grain sack equal roughly to a young dwarf. How specific. Yeah, that's interesting. What's the newsboy have to say? Madame, have you heard? Ladies like yourself are being targeted. For now, a sunny sure, but you better tuck in early tonight. What's this hip little puppet yammering about? His concern is genuine, despite the fact that he's slinging newspapers. A bright young capitalist, if I ever saw one. The name is Rob, madame, and you might as well add the little. Most people think I'm short for a cyclops, but I'm still growing, honest. Back home at the tenements, I keep track of it with a yardstick taped to the wall. That's an awfully strange way to introduce yourself, even for East End. We can ask, does it trouble you so much that you're smaller, or I hope your business grows as well? I'm still growing, honest. Exactly. Here's hoping your business grows as well. Oh, speaking of business, care for the latest blood boiler. I also have a bulletin covering other goings-on. Only 1 penny. I can say, buy a bulletin. I can see, what is it you're selling? Broadsides? Or, sorry, little prince, but I have no time for the news of the day. I wonder if I have a penny. I do indeed. Okay, we'll ask him what is he selling. Broadsides is single sheets of paper. And choirs of sheet music, not to mention the latest on the courtesan killer. A story that could well have been written about me should Lady Luck abandon me so. I can say, here's a shilling to keep the broadside, tell me what you've heard about this mystery killers, or say I'd rather keep my money. We're gonna give him a shilling and ask him what he's heard about the mystery killer. Everyone's got their own pet opinion, but I think the ladies have been killing themselves. I heard from a chap at the tavern who had it from a stevedore that people have been having fits where they tears themselves apart. Looks like they was chopped up with a hatchet. I can say, I think I'll reserve judgment on that theory, Rob. Hopefully the bobbies will figure this out soon, or I suppose any theory is better than what the coppers have presented, which is, bluntly, nothing. Perhaps I'll ask around the rows if I have time. We'll ask around if we have time. Thanks, madame. I'd best be going now, little duck. Watch out for hobnails that don't work too hard, or those shoes will be worn down come winter. Okay, is there anything else I can do? There's a swivel crane. Oh, let's go see the stray dog. He growls at me. That's a blue merle collie. Strange seeing a purebred without a collar. Perhaps he ran away. Looks like he's been in a few brawls at that. Needs a proper meal if you ask me. I can feed him. I'll feed him and come back, it says. Okay. What else can we do? There's a swivel crane. Judging by the rust on its finish, the crane hasn't seen use in a long time. So, I think what I need to do... Is there anything in the nest? Raven's nest, abandoned, ransacked. Likely by a rogue automaton pigeon while the nest's inhabitants were away. Can talk to the dock hound. Let's just go to the tavern. Maybe I can get some food for the doggo. Intellect shuddered until later in the day. Velocipede? Stunning invention for its time, though a bit dated now. What with the steam-powered motorcycles I've seen along the avenues. The spokes are patinaed with rust. It must not be getting much use. All the same, I'm surprised it hasn't been stolen, sitting out in the open like this. I can't go to the tavern. Gears and cogs. Ooh, yes. We're just gathering the pieces. Anything else this way? There's a rope. Ropes are always useful. I didn't get to pick it up. Felipe Serrano. There's a schedule. Okay. ferry schedule. Let's look at that. Whoa. Here's where the steam ferry leaves from. No one around at the moment, only my reflection in the river to keep me company. My figure, like my future, is soft and wavering, fails to settle into a certain shape. Would I that I could toss my woes into the harbor, leave them to sink to the bottom and never resurface, or if only London were as easy as snaking aboard the ferry. There are documents to print and loose ends to tie up. Still, we're gonna say there are things to tie up. We're looking for... There's some more gears and cogs over there, so let's go over here. Oh wait, maybe the fisherman has some fish. Hard for one's proverbial sails to catch wind in these cities. A sea dog like me is perpetually adrift. I can ask for a cigarette. I can tell him to seek fortunes elsewhere. Say hopefully the future holds promise to us all. I want to ask about fish. Silly. Maybe if he gives me a cigarette. Okay, we'll ask about the cigarette. Don't see why not. Good for the Constitution, you know. Okay, we'll ask for a cigarette. We don't need any more. Okay, who are you? A regular at the Rose, he's a Spaniard gazing wistfully across the canal. Like most seamen, he carries an esoteric reverence for superstitions, but holds a singular enthusiasm for the unknown that rolls along the tides. Hark to that! He's in the middle of a song. It's a lovely tune I recognize from somewhere, but I can't place. Señorita Clara, buenos dias. I don't know what the first one means. I wish it translated it. Good morning to you, too. My apologies, Clara. Spanish for my head was in the clouds. Head in the clouds, indeed. I can try out my Spanish or ask him what song he was singing. Okay, we're gonna ask him what song he was singing. Oh, I had no idea. Or I only understand a few words, but it sounded passionate, or your baritone could really use some work. I only understood a few words, but it sounded passionate. I tilt my head and smile at him a little bit. Ah, quizás, quizás. It's a song from Violetta. A troupe was touring in Spain during my last visit home. Just the title of the aria alone spoke to me. De mia volenti spiriti. It perfectly describes how full my heart feels. Apparently he knows about operas, or we can say he doesn't know about operas. You know of the opera? I've heard of this opera before, though I'm not familiar with its other title, The Fallen Woman, a show so scandalous it did not tour in Britain. Muy bien! Spanish for excellent. You really know your arias. And he's talking about how full his heart is? Dear me. Who might he have taken up with? I've noticed you frequenting the roses of late. Does one of the girls have your heart feeling this way? Or who is she, might I ask? I've noticed you frequenting the roses of late. Does one of the girls have your heart feeling this way? I fear that the devil will yank the rug out from under me if I tell you who. I've rarely been so lucky in love. Felipe, you don't go to a call house to find love, and she reciprocates? He wouldn't be the first guy to get confused. Yeah, Felipe, you don't go to a call house to find love. Claro que si. Of course. Every night she took my money, but last night she did not. She pressed it back into my palm and kissed me. Oh, Clara, while I was walking back home, I felt as if the fisherman's words fade as I grapple with what he's revealed. In this line of work, there's a rule that reigns supreme. You always accept payment. Even if her actions are sincere, she has reaped a disservice on all of us. Tup, a penniless cobbler, and their payment should be mending your most worn shoes. The price of our company is also our protection, what little we have. When word gets out that a client has become an exception, every Tom, Dick, and Harry assumes they'll be the next one. So I'd like you to have a pollock. Oh, fish on the house. I quash my inner monologue just as he ends his. I haven't the faintest idea why he's giving me a fish. Did I truly drift off for that long? Gracious? Can you believe this has all come up the Thames this morning? The new steamships are such a wonder. He points towards a near-bursting net waggling with fish. My heart is filled to abundance, and now my net is too. It has to be a sign. That's lovely, Felipe, but you said it yourself. The girl may be in danger because of this. Who is she? Lo siente, señorita Clara. Let the pollock, the fish, double as an apology as well. Every seaman here will tell you the fates are fickle, and I cannot tempt you by telling you her name, not until I have her answer to a very precious question. Precious? Is he planning to propose? As they say, only fools rush in. I can say, will the fates hope the fates look kindly on you, or overcome with passion as you are, I imagine you'll ask her tonight. I got fish for the puppy dog. That's the only thing I can think about. Okay, overcome with passion as you are, I imagine you'll ask her tonight. He presses his lips in an anxious smile. By the saints, this is a doomed romance if I've ever seen one. Okay. Let's go back to the dog. Because I want to feed the puppy. Let's go talk to the collie. Give him a fish. Toss him the fish from Felipe. Bit stinky, I'm afraid, but I hope you like it. He sniffs at it, but doesn't seem interested. Perhaps that sort of salty fare is best fit for a feline. I can take it back. Oh, I failed. Bark, bark, woof, woof, snarl. Saints above, that's gonna leave a scratch. Okay, what else? If I find something to feed you, I'll come back. Okay, so we didn't get our fish back. Let's go this way. is a slag pile here that I want to check. Coal tailings from the warehouse. No doubt. Steam requires coal, but the byproducts, gypsum, slag, and fly ash, can be reused. Abrasive cement, roofing materials, just to name a few. Who knows how long this will sit here before anyone repurposes it. I would assume it was piled by one of the trash processing automatons employed by Arsenal. There's some gears and cogs I can pick up. We're gonna gather the pieces. Let's go talk to Green Street. There is Green Street, a Canadian smuggler who endures the brutality of nature and the unforgiving ocean in the name of profit. A pity to have to turn to him for passage across the pond, but my options are rather limited, Miss Reed. Mr. Greenstreet. Satiate my curiosity for a moment. Why do you need me when you have such prestigious bedfellows as Lord Braxton? I don't know. Your curiosity will be left wanting, I'm afraid. Or, in my line of work, one learns it is foolish to ask a favor from one's clientele, or goodness, undermining your competence before my money is even in your hands. Quite honest of you, Greenstreet. We're gonna do the intellect. Very well. I rescind my question. I only asked because a man of his stature could assist with this predicament. Predicament? Due to the recent import shortage of rubber gum from the Congo, the peelers, the policemen, have been engaging in more thorough dock inspections to keep the demand from reaching an underground market. He shoots me a look while scanning the horizon. The port's usual watchmen refuse my bribe. Either the coppers are paying 'em better, or they're putting the fear of God in 'em. He grits his teeth around his pipe. That means changes to our agreement on smuggling you out of here. I'll need a double rate by tomorrow night. That's as generous as I'm willing to get while the constable's breaking down my neck. I can threaten him, I can take my business elsewhere, or your initial payment was ludicrous as it was. And the intuition is a likely skill check. It's 50-50 basically. Okay. Perhaps I'll simply take my business elsewhere. He removes his pipe. No, you won't. An unfortunate situation, but I've crawled out of worse. You compose yourself, Miss Reed, but I've seen jackrabbits chew their own limbs off to escape a snare, only to bleed out 10 paces past. Desperation is in the eye of every trapped animal. You must know it's impossible to get that much capital in so short a time. I can offer my services as a courtesan, or I can remain silent. Hey, Black Mage, how are you? I hope you're having a good morning. We're gonna remain silent. Chin up, Miss Reed. It's not all so dour. Lesser miracles have already happened. My contact pulled through. He takes a leather bifold wallet from his breast pocket. Go on, take a closer look. I untie the leather tassel and reveal the pleated papers. There's even an authentic-looking wax stamp. A new identity, mine for the taking. This alone costs a small fortune. Your tale is when you've come to the Dominion of Canada to claim inheritance from your great-uncle who served as a soldier under Napoleon. That's a neat story. With the coup going on in France, any attempts to verify my familial origins would be a nightmare. Oh, you're watching the dev stream. Nice. I'll be taking that back for now. You're sure they won't be able to tell it's forged? Or how am I meant to measure its legitimacy if you won't let me look? Bruges ran out of the new show he's been watching. Okay, they're changing the PvP tasks in the season journey. Oh? And you're sure they won't be able to tell it's forged? Suppose you'll just have to take my word. He tucks the documents into his breast pocket. If I'm not here on the docks, then you can find me at the tavern. Gather up the capital, and we'll be ready to leave off come dawn. Well, that could have gone better. Now what am I to do? I'm hardly without allies. I turned to Green Street because I didn't want to rely on anyone else, but it seems I have no choice. Fine. Who can I ask? I've met many people during my time in London. I can ask Clem, Molly, Tessica, or Dolores. I don't know who any of those people are. Tessica sounds like an interesting name. One of the only things about London I'll miss. It would break my heart to tell her I'm leaving. Best to keep her away from the skullduggery. Who else? Let's talk to Clem? Bartender. Best not tell her I'm leaving. No, but she's good for gossip. Might be she has a lead on some money-making opportunities. Worth a shot, at least. Who else? Let's check on Molly. Molly O'Malley, leader of the Dockhands. I ran with her in our bullfrog days. And she was the one who put an end to those days. Far too dangerous to approach, unless you've got a death wish. And one of the main reasons I'm leaving London behind in the first place. What about Dolores? She runs a laundry in the Red Lantern district. The finest fence in London. We've done business before. She's always treated me right. Might be time to pay her a visit then. That's enough to be getting on with, I think. Alright, let's see. What else can I find? There's a wharf engineer over here. Let's go ask him what's up. A studious man turns away from his workbench where the innards of an open watch face glint in the sun. He momentarily loses focus and a steel spring twangs in my direction. Dodge the spring. Yay, I succeeded. I cock my head at the last moment. The errant spring zips past my ear and the man snatches it out of the air with shocking alacrity. Not terribly unlike dodging the affections of some love-struck fool. Poetry can be much more painful when it connects. Oh, you blazing mechanical foozer. Clumsy person. Ahem. I didn't see you there, miss. He shifts his demeanor with a practiced smile. What a clean lady. Here at Arsenal Warehouse number 3, we take pride in cleanliness. Pardon me, miss, for the temporary, mishandling. Whom do I have the pleasure of meeting on this fine day? I can use my intellect or my tact. Okay, we're going to use the intellect. A fine day. Well, at least the sea air cuts through the smoke and fog. I'm Clara Reed. What might I call you? Dante Ziegler, at your service. What brings you to the wharf? I can say I was just passing by, thought I would stop a moment to see what you were working on, or this is not a butchery. What a terrible mistake on my part. If I asked the butchery thing, you think he'd give me some meat I could give the dog? I was just passing by. Thought you would stop a moment to see what you were working on. Ah, well, I beg your pardon again, Miss Clara, but I'm a bit busy at the moment. Busy waiting, that is, for my illustrious employer to finally arrive and give the orders of the day. That'll be Lord Braxton at Arsenal. Lord Braxton wears wonderfully clean suits. That means he's a good man. The man can be an absolute tyrant to his employees whilst managing to completely ignore them at times. Makes me wonder what he's up to in his private life, but I'm not one to pry. He certainly doesn't know this company Silas keeps. I can say I've heard there's some remarkable goings-on at the Arsenal, or funny you should mention him. Okay, we're gonna say, I've heard there are some remarkable goings-on at Arsenal. Like you wouldn't believe. Lord Braxton has his fingers in all kinds of pots. High, low, everywhere in between. I take it you're the sort to collect and pay for cogs? Or mixing with the lowbrow? Hope you don't mind asking. I kind of want to sell the... Hold on, we're going to stop. We're going to sell the cogs. And we'll sell the ones I've collected. What sort of thing is Lord Braxton involved in high society? Or, I hope you don't mind prying, but exactly what sort of automaton is this? Or Lord Braxton mixing with the lowborn? That beggars belief. It went away before you could choose one? That's because I clicked it. What sort of things is Lord Braxton involved in high society? Don't tell anyone I said so, but the industrialists are the real power in this country. Parliament merely their mouthpieces. Despite that, it would seem that ruling from the shadows isn't enough for these blokes. I've heard that Arsenal has some kind of endgame scenario in the works. So Silas is scheming to change things. I wouldn't call that news, but the way this fellow says endgame makes me a bit nervous. We can say Lord Braxton mixing with the lowborn, that beggars belief, or hope you don't mind me prying, but what sort of automaton is this? Or certainly sounds like Lord Braxton has been keeping busy. I wanna... Okay, I'm just gonna check something real quick. I wanna see if the opportunities are up. Because I want to keep an eye out for when the codes pop up. Game code pending. Okay. That way I can keep an eye out. Okay, we're mixing with the lowborn. That beggars belief. You want to know all the tea? Sometimes knowing the tea is a good idea. Dante Ziegler says, I doubt a fine lady such as yourself would have seen such things. But certain undesirable elements have been traipsing around with mechanical augmentations. Some say they bear the Arsenal's maker mark. Whew, excuse me. Scandalous. Molly and the Dockhounds in bed with Silas? Guess I'm not the only one. Or we can find out what sort of automaton this is. Or we can end the conversation. Need to keep an eye and see when the codes are given out for. There we go. We'll check a general chats. Alright. we're going to say, I hope you don't mind me prying, but exactly what sort of automaton is this? The kind that gives me a headache. I'm designated trash retrieval and processing unit. It's one of several that roam around the warehouse, bumping into walls every couple of minutes before correcting course into another wall. For some reason, it thinks it should stand here and bother me. Mr. Ziegler produces a large amount of garbage. His suit is not clean. Okay, so what is your opinion of Mr. Ziegler? Or, I see the automaton follows you around cleaning up your messes, of which I gather there are more than a common amount. That's kind of funny. We're gonna say, what's your opinion of Mr. Ziegler? Upstanding moral character is correlated with cleanliness. Hey, Trap, I think I see a mess in the water over there, right off the edge of the dock. And we're gonna end the conversation. Busy, right. It's been a pleasure, Miss Claire, but I'm afraid I need to get back to my project. Good day. And they say women are gossips. I can't imagine what this man would reveal after a few drinks. Blue slips sink airships. So maybe if I give him a drink? Okay. Can't talk to him again. Green Street, how much do I need to pay him? The Last of London. Velvet Rose, Fisherman's Bride. Feed the dog, buy a thread. Red Lantern Lane I need to look for. Okay. Okay, that was a dead end. Hey, Crypt. Or hey again, I should say. In Soros Square, the East End's crossroads of commerce and vice, the medieval cobbles still bear the weight of modern wheels and footwear. The streets, alleys, and plazas have avoided being pressed into the bilious black of macadam, gracing the lanes around Piccadilly, Kensington, and other wealthy areas. You've heard it said that due to an ongoing trademark dispute, each individual stone would need to be granted a day in court before its removal to make way for smoother pavement. Soros's square amenities and surroundings attract people of varying moralities. Even so, the elites of London rarely cross the River Lea, and anything east of Aldgate is commonly held as out of bounds except for urgent errands. Okay, what did I find? Pavel's Pinfold. I can go to the wharf. There's a cook fire. Ah, the dance of the flames in the open air recalls my travels with the Romani, where every morning brought fresh air and new vistas. When our luck ran low, we simply shared what we had instead of squabbling over money. I can say, but these folks aren't on a romantic adventure. They're cold and hungry, and camaraderie can only do so much to alleviate troubles like that. But soon, if all goes well, I will be free of London's stinking smog and crowded lanes, awake every day to the open countryside if I wish it. I think the first one. Okay, so I lost some hope. There's a broken window. A lightning bolt fracture runs down this otherwise remarkably clean window. I can look closer or I can turn away. We're gonna look closer. On the ground beneath it lies a mess of tiny gears and lacy aluminum feathers. Is that a steel talon by the wayside or just a hobnail? This automated bird must have flown blindly into the glass. I know it wasn't really a living creature, but there's something too terrible to consider about the whole scene. I'd best keep walking. Oh, that sucks. Here's some more gears and cogs I can pick up. We're just gonna gather the pieces. There's an open barrel over there. There's beds for vagrants. What's a stew bum? Sadly, there are a lot of vagrants in this end of London. If I ever met this fellow, I can't recall his name. Good day to you, sir. Madam, and who might you be? Call me Clara Reed. Why the woebegone look? Is something wrong? Why, yes, something is wrong. Since ye asked, I am awful dry, milady. Perched up something fierce. The name's Poe Pickett, by the by. Don't suppose you could help a man who's down on his luck? I can give him a shilling. Or I can tell him to get a job. Let's give him half a shilling. I understand what it's like to be at the end of your rope. Here you are, Mr. Pickett. Oh, bless you, Mum. Okay. Let's go see what's this way. There's an open barrel here. Best give that barrel a wide berth. I can smell it from here. What's over here? Oh, there's a butcher. Hey! Food for the doggo? I'm gonna purchase some meat. Yeah, we're purchasing meat for the doggo. Okay, we're going back to give the doggo his food. Oh, and we have an ad break. Let's go back to the wharf. I want to see if the doggie's still there. Let's go to the collie. How about this meat? Never met a hound who would turn his snout up at some raw meat. Have at it, then. Look at him wolf it down. Hope he won't forget this kindness. I can pet the dog, or I can say ta-ta. Can't spend all day cavorting with the animals. We're petting the puppy. Murph, whine. Murph, Murph. That's the sweet spot, right behind the ears. Aww. Take care, little one. Okay, I can't do anything else with the puppy. That's okay, I fed him. I feel better. Let's head back to where we were. Okay, we already read that. And we can go to Pavel's Pinfold. Don't know what that would be. Let's see what else is this way. Oh, we have a map now. Red Lantern Lane is this way. So that's where I need to go for the quests. Good to know. So we already talked to the butcher. There's a poster. What's it say? Encouraging werewolves to report to the containment zone. We can look on the bright side or face the grim reality.